Welcome to the Beyond Inclusion Book Summary Series. Today we dive into Chapter 1, The Amazing Boy Who Put on His Shoes and the Presumption of Incompetence.
What is the presumption of incompetence? Well, let me read what I wrote in my book. The presumption of incompetence tells us that we should not expect disabled people to be able to do much of anything because they are not capable or competent by virtue of being disabled. It tells the lie that being disabled limits people in such a way that their ability to complete even menial tasks is a feat worthy of great elation.
The presumption of incompetence manifests in many ways. The following are some of the ways that the presumption of incompetence manifests.
Number 1, talking about a disabled person instead of talking to the person. Number 2, assisting when assistance hasn't been requested. Number 3, social exclusion. Number 4, opportunity exclusion. Number 5, social inauthenticity. And number 6, exclusion from activities presumed to be too challenging.
In her book Just Human, Arielle Silverman talks about how the presumption of incompetence led to social exclusion and affected her opportunities for social authenticity. She wrote, "I observed how my sister interacted with her friends, the good-natured teasing and sharing that went on between them. Rarely did my friends open up to me in the same way. Sometimes it seemed my classmates were more interested in helping me than in being my friend. Eventually, I came to attribute this behavior to my blindness, at least in part." How can I challenge myself to do better? Presume competence. Always.
Number 1, talk directly to disabled people, just as you talk to everyone else. It is a sign of respect to talk to a human rather than about them in their presence. Number 2, assume that people, disabled or not, do not need help unless they ask you or you see obvious signs that they might need help. Number 3, be intentional and explicit in talking about access and accommodation so that every person can participate if they choose to. Number 4, every individual should be given the chance to decide what they are and are not interested in, and should be given the chance to attend, try, apply, and prove themselves the same as those who have not been presumed incompetent by virtue of disability. If someone needs support to participate, make it a priority. Number 5, resist assumptions that lead you to treat a person differently in social situations because of their disability. Number 6, listen to disabled people when they tell you what they are and are not capable of. Presuming incompetence and then not listening when a person defends their competence is a double punch of ableism.
The rest of this video will focus on educating and empowering caregivers to educate and empower anti-ableism in the kids in their care. If you aren't interested in this type of content, feel free to stop the video. It's time for a story.
In the book, I tell a story about my son having a somewhat of a preschool altercation with another child at a play place, and how the parent of the other child just quickly forced their child to give my son the toy that they were having a tug of war with, even when I said, no, it's okay, your child had it first, and tried to explain that I wanted him to understand that he needed to give her the toy because she had it first. And I go on to kind of summarize my thoughts from that experience and how it relates to the presumption of incompetence. And I'm going to read a portion of that. What my son has learned from this, meaning the interaction I talked about, is that he isn't held to the same expectations as others because it is presumed that he can't handle the typical social expectations for his age. If a child isn't allowed to learn the give and take of friendship, he may end up unable to maintain friendships in his future because his social experiences and responses have been so atypical. In addition, when he is denied the opportunity to feel hard feelings related to social interaction, how will he ever learn how to process and manage them?
Let's talk. Parent to parent.
Parent to parent, let's talk about inviting disabled kids to birthday parties. I'm going to read an excerpt from my book that talks about this. In regards to friendship and authenticity, I want to make a few notes. On occasion, it has been suggested that inviting disabled kids to birthday parties is an act of charity. Let me be clear that when disabled kids are isolated socially, it is sad and unfortunate. They, like every child, would benefit from authentic friendships. Be sure to keep in mind, though, that a pity invitation is not a gesture of authentic friendship. If your child is having a birthday party and is asked to select a few friends to attend, please don't demand that your child invite a disabled peer. If your child chooses to invite them, great. A way around this, if you wish to be inclusive, is to invite the entire class. But singling out a child for an invitation because they are disabled is another example of social inauthenticity.
Bringing it home. A resource you can use.
Now I want to share a resource with you that you can read to your kids that actually takes the presumption of incompetence head on and can empower them to instead presume competence. It's called We'll Paint the Octopus Red, and it is by Stephanie Stuvey Bodine. Hopefully I didn't say that incorrectly. And I'm going to read to you what I wrote about it in my book since I've already kind of summarized it. The main character is notified that her baby brother has arrived. She shares all the plans she has made for herself and her brother, including teaching him how to paint an octopus. Big sister then finds out that her brother has Down syndrome and starts to guess that it means her brother won't be able to do all the things she has planned. She says, "Then he won't be able to paint the octopus. My dad said that he was positive Isaac could do that if I showed him how." After voicing her speculations to her dad and having her dad reassure her, she goes on, "By the time we were done talking, we couldn't find one of those million things that Isaac wouldn't be able to do with me. If Isaac has this Down thing, then what can't he do?" My dad hugged me. He said that as long as we were patient with Isaac and helped him when he needed it, there probably wasn't anything he couldn't do. This is a beautiful story that you can read to your kids.
Here are a few questions you can ask your kids to get a conversation going. Why do you think Emma thought that Isaac having Down syndrome might mean he wouldn't be able to do all the things she had planned? How do you think Emma might have felt before her dad explained that Isaac would still be able to do fun things with her? Has there ever been a time when someone didn't think you could do something, even though you could? How did that feel? If other people don't believe that Isaac can do things, what can Isaac's friends, family, and teachers do to support him? Thank you for watching. For more of my work, or to contact me, go to www.informeddisability.com. Carrie Hahn is the author of Beyond Inclusion, How to Raise Anti-Ableist Kids, and is the person behind Inform. The image on the screen is a photo of Carrie, who has shoulder-length, wavy blonde hair. She has white skin and hazel eyes.